All right. Well, what's poppin', my people? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Marcus couldn't text me back, but he read my message. That's crazy. But listen, I love y'all, and I'm excited to see y'all, and I'm excited to hear what's popping this morning too. About to go down. And this is a thick book club. It's good to see everybody this morning. You know what I'm saying? What's happening? Let's go. I'm excited to see everybody. Alyssa on here today. What's up, Alyssa? We see you, girl. Andy on here today. Sam on here today. We see you too. What's popping? Amber, we know you on here every day. First one to hit the Zoom. Kelsey's always first or second. Literally, it's a battle between y'all every day. You know what I'm saying? Nito, I see you too, man. It's good to see everybody, fam. For real, for real. Alyssa hopped right off. She'll pop back on in a second, I hope. But with that being said, we gonna get this thing cracking today. Honestly, this book is life changing, just like this industry. And it's wild that we get to go through this right now, man. I'm truly grateful, bro. So, with that, we gonna kick it off today. Is there anybody who would like to volunteer to go first and open us up? I'm gonna wait for a second because Amber opened us up for like the last 3 weeks, but she did open up her hand just now. So, if don't nobody else want to go, we're gonna put ladies first. Take that. As my man Mike Teasy said, let's get it, girl. You can definitely open us up. So good morning.
Good morning, everyone. You already know what it is out here. This book is so good. I love it. So chapter 11. I'm only gonna go over the first like 3 chapters because I didn't get to finish the last 2, and I wasn't like cramming in, but I don't want to do that. I just want to really take it in. So chapter 11. I'm gonna read this first paragraph. Your mind is a powerful computer. It controls how you feel, and how you feel determines what you attract. Your mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is not. Your imagination can create, and your imagination can destroy. Usually when something is not going exactly the way you want it to, you have created a scenario in your mind that is taking power away from what it is that you say that you want. Your power is taken away through the bad feelings created by your thoughts. Regardless of whether your thoughts are based on reality or not, your feelings are real, and your feelings determine what you attract. So then it starts talking about the power of interpretation, and how whenever we interpret something, the way that we interpret it is going to be the reality that we experience. So he tells a story that one day he woke up and his bed was wet, and then it happened the next day, and so then he started to think that he had like a bedwetting problem, um and then so he created this scenario in his mind that he was sick, and so he went to the doctor and like all this stuff, and he couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. So then he started to think that something was just wrong with him that was just never going to get fixed. And then all of a sudden he found a hole in his waterbed. So he was never sick. He was never wetting the bed ever. Like he never had an issue. The issue was never about him. But the way that he interpreted in his mind, he started to create that reality for himself. So it says right here, like, my brain created the following interpretation. I had an accident. There is something wrong with me. I am sick. I don't feel well. I may be sick for the rest of my life. And if anybody was here whenever we read the power of assumption and the power of I am, number 3, he says I am sick, right? So he's claiming that over himself. We go back to the first paragraph, and it says your imagination can create or destroy. So what he's thinking about is like that's what he's claiming. It says I was interpreting a set of circumstances on some serious problems with my health. My actions were driven by my feelings of being sick. So how does this apply? How you feel about a set of circumstances based upon what you say about them can drastically alter your life's course. So to me, like this chapter is like really important because I feel like it's obviously talking about interpretations, but really like the power of finding the higher perspective that works for you. And one thing that I've been realizing is like before we can do the work to like raise our vibration and get us in alignment, it always starts with the decision of being willing to do so. So all of us, every time we interpret something, we have to make that decision whether we're going to interpret it as it being something that's good for us or it's being something that's not good for us. And so we have to like discipline our minds to believe that everything is always working out for us. right? So I talked about here an example when it came to network marketing. He said that his neighbor and his cousin both got involved in network marketing. Neither of them makes money and they both quit, right? So here are the possible interpretations. One is no one can make money in network marketing. Network marketing doesn't work and only the people at the top make money. They got in too late. They didn't receive good training. They are lazy and they don't make money doing anything and they quit too soon. If he chose, like if he decided to believe like no one makes money in network marketing doesn't work and only the people at the top make money, then that is the reality that he's going to experience, right? So we have to like take responsibility for what we're experiencing, for the perspective that we're choosing to see certain things. If we want to honestly like be a victim and act like, okay, no one makes money in network marketing, like no one, like this doesn't work and only the people at the top make money, like you can have an interpretation that's different, you know, like an interpretation that you're always at the top. So you're always gonna make money no matter what. um, so this paragraph says, you can see if you choose interpretation 1, 2, or 3, you would probably be turned off by a career in network marketing and never pursue it again. Based on your determination, you would say that network marketing is not a good business and not a good very business model. You would avoid it in the future. You also would be cutting off any future opportunities to create beach money. So basically, like, it's the way that we see it. And like, I really feel personally, like on a personal level, like I was really blessed with the way that I was introduced to network marketing and the company that I first got in. Like, I really do believe that I was a part like one of the best network marketing companies ever. And I was so young at the time, like I was 21, that I was like ignorance on fire. Like I believed. And I'm so glad that like that was my experience, because then my interpretation since then has always been an interpretation that's always served me. Like I've met tons of people who hate network marketing, have so much to say, so much negative things to say. And I like started to realize, because I knew I had a good experience and I understood from a very young age that it's a business model and there's different business models out here, and that like it's not like me, all of them have their own experience, right? And it's not really about the business model, it's about the people who work the business model, you know? And so I've met a lot of people who, you know, have had bad experiences and have like so much to say this and that. And honestly, like when we stop taking things so personal and we just allow it to be what it is and like interpret it as something that can work for us in one way, shape, or form, then that's the reality that we're going to experience. But we have to choose that, right? And we have the power to choose that. We have the power to choose, like, I can make network marketing work for me in one way, shape, or form. Like, this is going to be a stream of income for me and my family because I want it to be, and it's going to work out in a way that's going to work for me. And even if you don't know what that way is, you just deciding that it is and being open to it working out for you in any way is like the only thing that you really need to do for it to work out for you, to be honest. I mean, obviously the other stuff, but like the willingness to be open and to know like this is going to work out for me in one way, shape, or form, because everything always works out for me. Great perspective to have. Great interpretation. Oh, next chapter, a new perspective. Okay, so the only thing, I'll pass it on here in 1 second after this chapter. So perspective. In the first chapter, I talked about an emotionally charged event can completely alter our view. As our view shifts, our lives shift. We begin to look at things from a whole perspective. Our destination, making it altered. We make decisions. We make different choices. We base many of our decisions and choices on our perspective. So our perspective shifts. I want to talk about the meeting. He said something in here about how he drove everyone to the event. 1 second, y'all. I can't find it. I highlighted too many things. Anyways, he mentions in this chapter how he, what is this chapter? No, it was the second chapter. Okay, I'm just gonna hit on the second chapter real quick. Chapter 13, the day momentum hit. The company leaders had told me over and over again that if I wanted my guests to be at the meeting, I should pick them up. They also said that if I asked my guests to meet me at the event, there was almost a 100% chance that they would not show up since I have since learned that this is true. And I just wanted to capitalize on top of that because that is very, 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 very true. We're leaders. And if we want our people to be at certain things, we have to take initiative and pick them up. And it's just so crazy, like how we do things, and like we don't even notice like what we're doing. And I remember like when I first started, this was so crazy. I just want to tell this story. I had first started and I had created my first team, and we had a trip to Miami, an event in Miami, and like we all drove 24 hours in Miami. And I remember being frustrated because my sponsors and the people who had like put me in, and then like some of the other leaders, they all flew like, and they all flew like the day before, and they had went out, and like a lot of people on my team that I had brought like couldn't afford to fly, so we all had decided to like work together as a team and like drive together in the van, and I'm really glad that I had that experience because that was important. Like there was no other way that was gonna happen if we didn't like drive. And I know that like us in TGF, like in the last event, they drove to Arizona, and worked together to get there. So events important, driving together, taking your team there, very, very important. Even like just leading in general, like leading groups of people and anything, like, being there, picking them up. That's all I have to say about these chapters, y'all. I'm going to popcorn someone else. And I'm gonna popcorn Nito because he's the only one here with his camera on.
Appreciate you, appreciate you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's a blessed day, another good day, man. Uh, yeah, so like Amber, I didn't get to read all the chapters. I read the first couple ones, and but chapter 11, with the whole the first thing that stood out to me was literally one of the first sentences where it says, "Your imagination can create, and your imagination can destroy." And honestly, I mean, that's big because there's a lot of, when you, there's a lot of things that can go on in your head about different circumstances and, you know, what could be the reason behind all those. And I know for a fact there's definitely been things where my imagination has ran wild to kind of kill the vibe of things, before I even get there. And when I read that, it was just, it was like kind of like a smack to the face where it's like, damn, that is true. I mean, there's definitely been things where events I've gone to or situations that I've been a part of that my imagination kind of just starts running different scenarios and things like that to where like at first I was like, nah, I don't even want to go, but then I end up showing up and it's like a totally different vibe. And so uh and it says, regardless of whether your thoughts are based on reality or not, your feelings are real and your feelings determine what you attract. We always talk about that. You attract what you are, and how working on personal development is big. And um, the fact that I've come to learn that, and I've always thought, you know, things happen for a reason, and we meet the people we meet for a reason. And but truly, yes, that is true. But at the same time, like you're attracting the same type of vibe that you're kind of giving off. And um and so going to chapter 12, new perspective. That I mean, shit, that's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, we all we can turn this chapter into anything, just the way we look, the way we have chart talks where everybody's got a different perspective on how they look at things, or the book club on how everybody has a different perspective of what they learned or read from the book. And even shit, I mean, y'all know me, sports guys, even in sports, everybody has a different perspective. everybody can see this way working more, or if we do this a little bit more, it could be, work more efficient. And there's a part in here that says, I realized that in my pursuit of business success, I tended to get distracted by the challenges and problems and inconveniences along the way. When I focused on them, they became bigger and more distracting, just like the cracks in his windshield. Because it talks about how he had an old, I think, was it 1987 Jeep Wrangler, and he had gotten in an accident. And after the accident, he started driving down the road. And once he hit like 70 miles an hour, the latches on the hood kind of weren't able to hold down the hood, and it just flew back and cracked his whole windshield. And how he was still trying to drive, while looking through the cracks. And we all go through a lot of things. Everybody, life hits everybody, and I feel like, definitely, yeah, exactly, bro. I mean, he even says it on here how he felt that if he could still see the road clearly, even if he kind of squinted, and it made the web, like the spider web, like cracks in the windshield kind of disappear a little bit. And that's true. I feel like, um, we all have this main goal that we're all trying to achieve in every aspect of our lives, and life's gonna throw us curveballs. Life's gonna hit us, upside the head. But if we're able to kind of look past those situations, I'm saying, that we'll still be able to get there. And I know, so back in the day when I was younger, I used to do a lot of karate and different like fighting things. And the one thing they told me, which I remember still to this day, is when trying to punch a board, you're not looking straight at the board. You're looking past it. You're looking kind of through it. And there was times where I didn't break it because I was looking straight at the board. I wanted, like, that was my target. But in reality, like, we kind of have to look past those little blocks and roadblocks to kind of hit our target. And once you started to imagine and look past the board, it was like breaking the board was easy. And I feel like that has to do with, a lot of not just life in general, but, as we go upon network marketing and things like that, is, you know, being able to kind of sit back and look through all the cracks and look over all the obstacles and everything like that. We'll find a way to get past those things. Like he found a way to drive with still his windshield all messed up. And and one thing I did highlight here, it says, to achieve my dreams, I needed to keep my eye on creating my future. And when things got tough, I needed to remember to focus my attention on my ultimate destination and the road ahead, which is, kind of like a reassurance of how, like I was saying, you know, things will come and go in our life, but as long as we're able to still kind of look towards the future and look towards the goal that we have set for ourselves, like we'll end up finding a way to go around or step over the obstacles that are ahead of us. And it was talking about how he had this curse, the Alder curse, and how he always thought he was unlucky. Time and time again, he got unlucky with things, and one little perspective changed it to where he was a drafter, an architect, and a draftsman for an architect spot, and he was drawing up, all the different landscapes, and one of the owners came up behind him and said, "You have a star following you." And what he kind of heard was, "You have a lucky star following you." So he took that and kind of just switched his whole perspective of, you know what, like maybe I'm not lucky. It's just kind of what I've been thinking. And so I'm gonna take this and start believing in that luck can happen to me, and that this curse is just a myth and not really my reality. And one thing I have highlighted here, it says, so if you want to begin to attract all the luck, simply declare yourself as the luckiest person and begin to believe it. And we talk about it all the time, kind of, where Marcus always tells us, think big sooner. And it's true. We start to think, that we're going to become millionaires. We start to think that we're going to impact a lot of people. We start to think that, we're going to achieve the goals that were set for us and that we have set for ourselves. And we'll slowly start to attract those things, and those things will slowly start to come into our, line of sight. And uh, I just know that perspectives can change a lot. And if you're able to stick to a lot of the fundamentals, those right there can literally change the whole course of your career. I mean, when I think about fundamentals, being a Spurs fan, I think about who else? Mr. Fundamental, Tim Duncan. He literally stuck to the fundamentals every time he had to go out and play. And it literally led him to a legacy of one of the big three that have gone, 5 championships, literally 5 for 6 in finals. Like, only person closest to do that, obviously, is Michael Jordan, going for 6 for 6. And he literally stuck to the fundamentals and added literally weapons around those fundamentals. And it says, one last thing here, it says, you learn the fundamentals and then just go. Run off the mountain and have faith that you will know what you need to know when you need to know it. And that's so true, bro. Even with social media and the trading, we study the fundamentals. We know what we need to know, but the only way we're going to know how to get over those fundamentals, or, get over the humps that we have to occur, is doing them. Just like how we always say, bro, like, you're really not going to get the hang of trading until you start, doing the demo accounts, seeing what you're doing wrong, seeing what you're doing right. And, that just leads to experience. And the last sentence of this chapter, it says, sometimes the most difficult experiences in your life can bring the greatest gifts. And sometimes the gifts don't reveal themselves for years. Be grateful for your trials. And I know when I read that is, we've all been through trials and everything. And I know that at the end of the day, those lessons may not show up that day, but I know down the road, how we always say, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. And I feel like sometimes those lessons will show themselves down the line as we look backward and kind of see what, we've gone through and what we're going through now. But I said, for me, I gotta read the next 2 chapters, but yeah, that's it, bro. So Sam, if you want to go, bro, I'll go ahead and popcorn you, man.
Yo, Nito, thank you for that. That was great insight on, I didn't get to the chapters today, man. I really just been like just Jim Rohn audios, bro, and I need to get on this book because I know it's so good and to help you. So I just kind of looked over like a little summary, so I don't want to take, someone else's words and like trying to project them. So I really got to get on the book, but I appreciate, your insight. But if anyone did the book, I would like to pop forward to them so they can give like their true insight on what they read, my boy Ken, let's see, are you available?
I can go in a second. I literally just gotta like finish getting dressed.
Already.
Kels, are you available? or Jason, Rodrigo, Alyssa, Matthew.
Marquitos, Jamitos, Asir,
It's
and
all
I'm
good.
muted.
I can go. I got it together. What's popping, y'all? How we feeling? New haircut and everything. You know, we out here. This book is fire, y'all. So I did read all of the chapters this time. So I'm proud of myself there. And one of the things I wanted to like highlight on is something that I've told myself for a long time and I had to get out of it. A lot of y'all know Mikhail, and a lot of y'all know this is like my day one of day ones. So when I first got into this industry, something that I told myself is I want to be as effective as Mikhail is on a day-to-day basis. And we did an event in the previous company that we used to work with, and no joke, he had like 10, 15 people there that day, and I had nobody. And I remember sitting in this event, and I don't remember what the speaker's name. Oh, I do remember the speaker's name. His name was Travis Just. And this guy was electric, is the best way to explain it. And I remember having this moment of like, yo, I want to be a mix of Mikhail and Travis Just because they are both effective leaders and they're both effective like sales guys, as real as it is. So I remember having that conversation with myself, and chapter 13 really exposed a negative mindset that I had. And as real as it was this: I don't need to be them. I need to be me. And y'all know me, I'm raw and real. I have a lot of hard times just owning the fact of, I should just be myself. Be yourself. The version of you that everybody wants to see and hear from is this healing and growing version of you, Cam, not just the fully healed, fully A-OK version of you. Nobody wants to hear that. That's a story that everybody gets all the time. What they want to know is the hard times that you had to go through, the things that you had to do to survive, and the mindset switch that happened. And one of the things in the book, it straight up said he felt like he would never be able to get to a point of like being like his this guy Al. He had 150 distributors across the country who didn't make it to this specific meeting that they were having, and all across the way, he basically was just like, I don't know exactly when the momentum started, but I remember this realization that I went to this event and I thought that this guy Al had invited all these people and all of them were electric for just that specific reason. Turns out he only had one person there. Everyone in the room was either invited by one person or the max maybe 3. And yeah, so like for me that was like, I don't have to another phrase we say a lot of time, you don't have to be great to get started, but you just got to start to be great. And I've been that's been something that's just been imprinting in my head from this Beach Money book. So shout out to this, because man, it's like it's a complete retrain of my brain. So yeah, that's what I got from it. The absolute most, just because it takes me, I'm hard-headed, it takes me a lot of repetitiveness to get it through my head sometimes. So that was really what I wanted to harp on. I don't know if Jason, Rigo, or Imani is ready, but I guess I'll popcorn one of you guys. Appreciate y'all for having me here.
Thank you so much for sharing that and bringing up Travis Just and like how I totally know how you feel. I felt the same way when I first saw Travis Just. I'll never forget that. It's crazy.
I'm just listening in today, guys. Just to let you know, don't call on me no more because I did not. I'm just listening, but I love everybody's input. It's amazing. So I'm tuned in.
Hey, we appreciate you for still tuning in.
Retweet. Also in the same boat, but I'm absolutely like locked in. I'm trying to get this book like loaded up on my audio book. I mean my God, I can't even think. My ebooks like on my app really quick. So I'm kind of like going as y'all are talking. I'm kind of like skimming through it. So yeah, no, I am appreciating all the feedback. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and reading these.
Are you on the app for the public library that you told me about?
Yes, girl. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they're everywhere. I have like 2 or 3 apps that have like all the ebooks, all the audiobooks, ones that
They're
you can
free?
download on free, girl, free. And I got like if anybody like anybody local to Austin, go get a library card. There's so many perks you guys can do for it. Even if you guys do like Duolingo and you know it's expensive, you get Mango for free. So I'm learning French. Literally, I'm teaching myself French. But yeah, you get Mango for free. There's another one called Libby. There's Hoopla is another big one. But yeah, they have all the ebooks, all the things like that, everything for free. And you get to rent up to 50 books at a time for free there from the library. So
That's awesome. I'm gonna go book crazy even more.
I can go next. Just give me 2.3 seconds.
I'm excited for someone to talk about chapter 14, the Rolodex.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, bets. Smooth. My apologies, guys. I've been honestly getting some things done around the crib. That's why my camera's been off, but I've been listening in. Shout out everybody who tuned into the book and actually read this past week. The value was something serious, so we appreciate y'all's intake. I also wanted to touch on, it's crazy. Nito hit it right on the nail in terms of the perspective of fundamentals and the lucky versus unlucky mindset. I really do believe that everything comes down to your perspective, as well as what you decide to do with the information that you gain and you learn along the way. And if you get really good at the simple things, successful people just do simple things longer than anyone else in a very effective way. And that's why they win. So Mr. Fundamental, as I am not a big Spurs fan, is somebody that has a lot of my respect because I love the game of basketball. And I think that was a prime example, bro, that you brought up with Mr. Timmy, because you could not stop his game. You could only contain him. He had it. The professionals, especially in basketball, I love watching the game because they really focus on doing what they do on such a continuous level that even when they're in a game playing against somebody else, their only competition is themselves. Because you know you're gonna have games where you'll be. I remember there was one time I watched Kobe Bryant score 2 points in the entire game. It was crazy because his whole career, that man was an absolute point machine. But it doesn't matter. Like, you're always gonna have the ups and the downs, especially in terms of performance. But if you have the fundamentals in tune, then the only person that you're really competing against is yourself. Like, if Timmy was not in motion, then just about anybody could stop his mid-range off the glass, but no one could because he just did it so consistently. So I really do believe, I didn't expect to talk about basketball this morning, but I loved the example that my guy brought up because it's absolutely true. You just got to be willing to understand the fundamentals and learn them. As simply put, let me find my notes real quick. Wow. Bedwetting and what it means, I thought was really funny. Boom, the new perspective. I did want to touch on chapter 14 because Amber brought it up. So bow. Money does grow on trees. This was different. When I read that title, I kind of flinched. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Because my mom used to always teach me this concept. Like, boy, I ain't made of bread and bread ain't growing on the tree outside. So we're going to have to figure this out. And the way I always received it was not the fact that we didn't have resources. It was the fact that, like, you've got to earn your bread and your money. But essentially, money is not something you go after, you attract it, period, point blank. He said, your success will be largely determined by the number of contacts in your contact manager and the quality of your relationships with the people in your contact manager. So again, I think it was a big emphasis of him reiterating what he's talked about continuously throughout the book, which was like, you cannot sleep on interpersonal skills, communication, listening. You cannot sleep on building genuine relationships, because if you will help somebody grow, especially in this industry, but regardless of any industry, the people that you're working with your business, with your brand, with your journey, like, they're the ones that are going to help you build it. And this is a concept my sponsor, and my sponsor is just a personal person. That person signed me up back in the day, Miss Shelby. She taught me this, as well as Marcus Setta. And it was through the fact that you've got to be able to understand that those relationships make all of the difference. And it's the amount of time that you're spending with those people and the quality. Like, yes, you might be bringing something to the table, but are they also? AB says it best. AB is an individual we partnered up with from overseas. But he had brought up the fact that, like, you're supposed to make time for people that are willing to make time for you. AKA, don't treat somebody as a priority who treats you as an option. Like, you've got to recognize when there's reciprocation, and that takes time. So one, it reminded me just to always be in tune with, you should always be meeting somebody. You should always be wanting to know exactly what's popping. And as he said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And here at TGF, we talk about all the time. It's not just what you do, it's who you do it with. And it'll ultimately determine the longevity of everything. The people that you have in your circle, the people that you let in, the people that you grow with. I'm a full advocate of giving everybody grace and everybody the benefit of the doubt. But I no longer ignore things that are black and white, signs that you can see, actions that are either done or not done from those who are speaking about what it is that they have done or not done. So I think it's really imperative. And I thought it was really cool that he had brought this up in this chapter, because just made me really certain that what we've been able to build here is something special, something unique. Let's go over a few things that you can do to maximize the use of your personal electronic Rolodex. Okay, so one is add 1 or 2 people to your contact manager every day. 1 per day is 365 per year. In other words, the way that I got taught it was, like, your list is never ending. You're always meeting somebody. You're always chopping it up with somebody, and the people that you can serve is unlimited. Shout out Unlimited, happening at the end of the year. Quit playing, little quick promo. But it's literally unlimited, y'all. You are as Ed Milet talks about, one person away, one meeting away, one call away, one rep away. You usually have the power of one more until you're right where you want to be. Most people do not have a vision problem. They have a depth perception problem. You think what it is you want and what it is that you can go and get is a lot further than it actually is. And if you recognize that and you have that mentality, like Nita was talking about, you have that mindset and that perspective that no, like this is going to work out for me. And I've got the ability to go and attract those high level valued people in my life, then you're going to continuously meet those individuals. Number two, view your contact manager as an opportunity to give back. Again, there's an unlimited amount of people that you can serve. If you seek to serve others, you will in turn be served. What you give is what you'll get. But a lot of people, yes, sir, there is no plan B. Or as I talked about on the value session, burn the freaking ships. There is no retreat. There is only success, period, point blank. Cold calling is not necessary. I love the fact that you do not need a cold call in this industry. You can market within your cold market. And I love that we can attract those individuals with our social media strategy. But that was always a benefit of the industry that I enjoyed. And then make notes in the notes section of your contact manager so that you can keep up with people's interests and the dates and topic of your past conversations that you had them. This is something that I've done with people. Anybody that's had a one-on-one with me, we do a goal setting call within the first 24 to 48 hours of you getting involved within our platform. And I have an entire notes, y'all. So I wanted to be an example of what this looks like. But I feel like I can be more intentional with it because he talks about when you're operating and leading a good amount of people, like you've got to keep track of the conversations that were had and what was said so that you can stay effective as you guys move forward. And I know that as our organization scales and grows, it gets a little more difficult when it's a larger team. So I've seen AB take notes on he uses Excel spreadsheets, crazy. I only use that for taxes. I don't think I would operate extremely well. That and budgeting, you know what I'm saying? I'll use Excel spreadsheet for that and budgeting, but that's about it. But in terms of squad goals, literally, y'all, everybody that I've had a conversation with in terms of what they want to accomplish here, long-term, short-term, notes, keeping track of what has been done, what hasn't been done, just so that I hold myself to a level of accountability. I'm still going. We got a lot of people in this thing, but I hold myself to a level of accountability so that I can help people remember, especially in times where things are difficult, what it is that they've told me. And then I can do my due diligence and ensure that I'm showing up and showing out for those who I gave my word to. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, your word is everything. So what he was specifically talking about is actually putting dates and topics of the past combos. I don't do that. And I took a little mental note. Well, I'm reading the book on an ebook, so I took a little note on here too. But that you can do that to be a little more effective within that aspect. And ultimately, the questions were crazy so that you can have an idea of how to advance the quality of your relationship. So in network marketing, I tell people this all the time. Like most people think it's, all right, let me put you in the system and then the job is complete. That is not the case. That is not the case at all. In fact, that is where the work really actually begins. Like you have, shout out again, Mark Casetta. I fully, thoroughly have realized over the past 3 years how blessed I was for 4 years to go and learn from that type of individual every 3 months in my young adult life. It shaped my mindset and helped me be as effective as I've been able to grow into this year. And as he has portrayed a level of urgency when somebody gets involved with something serious, y'all. If anybody knows about the View from the Edge, he did this every year. And he utilized a concept called edutainment, where you were being both entertained and educated at the same time. There's been statistics that show you retain information better when you're entertained rather than just sitting in a traditional setting. So he would do these skits and these plays, and I remember every year he would talk about the importance of getting somebody not just started, but results. within your first 24 to 48 hours. And right when they got started, there was a big clock that would just be ticking above their head. And every time we start somebody in the system, bro, I can never not think of this freaking clock. All right, y'all, we got 24 to 48 hours. We got to get these people some progress and in tune so that they know that we are actually here to help and that they can go and win. That helps lay the foundation, y'all. Sponsor versus recruit. Thank you, bro. But that honestly helped me recognize how important it is to recognize people as people and not just as numbers. Yes, this is a numbers game, and you've got to go through a lot of people to find the right ones. You'll go through hundreds upon thousands until you find the right one sometimes. But when you do, you should treat them as people. These are individuals, y'all. I don't care if again, this is why I love network marketing, because this is congruent across all different industries. Doesn't matter what you got going on, what it is you want to do. But when it comes down to it, these individuals that are utilizing you and your services and your knowledge, they've got dreams, they've got aspirations, they've got real life situations that they also have to solve and get through. And they know absolutely nothing from the jump of you getting in. So it is your responsibility as the leader, as Amber was speaking about earlier, to recognize that and to treat it as such. There's a lot of people that are just in it for the dollar signs. And yes, the dollar signs, like there's a purpose behind us doing this type of work. You know what I'm saying? Of course, we need to get paid, but you will be paid abundantly through the service you provide because of the value it gives to the marketplace you're in. And what's amazing about affiliate network marketing is that your marketplace is literally where you grab the attention. Whoever knows you, whoever's got going on. So because we have access to social media, your marketplace is literally global. So it's absolutely amazing. But recognize those who are coming in have to understand the value that they've gotten a part of, and they need the step-by-step guidance. And you've got to cultivate a relationship, AKA trust is not found, it is built. The reason why we've been able to have such a very tight-knit community and very intentional type of environment is because the conversations from the beginning have been intentional. The conversations have been willing from both parties to establish a layer of trust that either was not there before and is being rebuilt, or is not existed and is being created. It takes a lot of energy and focus, but it literally will have the greatest amount of reward, because y'all, whenever you help people go and accomplish their dreams, whenever you serve people on a day-to-day basis, despite what you got going on, it's the most euphoric and fulfilling part of what we do. I'm in the people business, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I work with people and I help myself be a better server every day. So I really think, y'all, if you take these 4 questions, and I didn't want to touch on everything that got touched on earlier because Amber, you do a great job with the whole synapses every time, girl. I appreciate you. But I also just wanted to touch on this chapter as well. It was funny that you had brought it up because these questions, y'all, are super, super, super important. And the reason why he had them there for you guys is if you take some intro reflection and you ask yourself these questions, especially in terms of the relationships you have now, not only will you know where you stand, but you'll be able to progress upon it, not just find new ones to go and create. You'll be a better person. Therefore, your existing relationships will be better. Number 1, I'm just going to repeat this for those who did not read, because I think it's imperative that you understand it. All right. Again, these are the questions that you're going to, about the people in your network. Ask yourselves these so that you can advance the quality of your relationships. Number 1, do they know you? Do they know what you do? Do they know what you look like and what you're interested in? People will only do business with people that they remember when they are ready to take action. If you don't come to mind when the time is right, you will not get the business. They must positively associate you with the service you provide. Shout out everybody over the past 3 years who've been branding themselves very, very outwardly as the people who understand financial literacy, because the time is coming where everybody that you've chopped it up to, those who have been keeping watch and seeing what's good. Sam, I know you're brand new to the industry, bro. Everybody that you're talking to and how outward you've been on social media, you are establishing your brand as the financial literacy guy, the trading guy. For years, Mikhail and I were known as the travel guys because we established ourselves like that. So when people were ready to go and travel, they weren't thinking about a travel agency or they weren't thinking about an advisor. They were thinking about their homeboy that they knew or that they heard about. These are very important. So again, y'all, the kick it guy. Let's go, Mikhail. But very, very important. What do people associate you with when they hear your name? You ain't got to answer out loud, obviously. Don't unmute yourself all at once. I'm just kidding. But what I'm saying is be mindful of what they would like. Be honest with yourself. Be truthful. Ain't no one know what the truth is except for you and God. Be truthful about it, and you'll be able to establish a higher level of credibility as you move forward. Number two, do they trust you? Again, what we talk about, trust is not found, it is built. Would they call you for advice or ideas? Do they consider you a valuable resource? People typically will only do business with people they trust. By positioning yourself as a trustworthy advisor and expert, you are much more likely to get phone calls from potential business partners and customers. It's real life, bro. Grateful that I've been around some amazing people that have helped me understand being trustworthy, and grow within that, because the connections we've been able to establish over the past year, let alone 4 years alone, something serious, y'all. And shout out the character work. You got to work on your character so that you can be trusted. If you can't trust yourself, start there. Number three, do they consider you a friend? Do they like you? People love to do business with friends. Make each person in your contact manager a friend and do things with them that friends do together, aka socials, aka vibe out. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's okay. Have a get together and get content together. I saw an amazing thing from Alex Morton not too long ago. Like, especially if you want to go and build this business, we can all get together and practice prospecting on each other. We can all get together and practice inviting, practice our 3-step setup, practice your testimony. Like, this is supposed to be fun, you know what I'm saying? And your community will make the overall enjoyment of the journey, and being able to have and enjoy the company with friends allows this type of work to be done in a more effective and longevity type of way. And the last one, can they depend on you? Are you rock solid in their eyes? Do they know that you will be there for them if they need you? Be consistent and dependable. Call people back when they call you. Do what you say you are going to do and follow through with your commitments. Beginning of last year, we read a book called The 4 Agreements. Are you impeccable with your word? First agreement. And the best way to answer that question is understanding what words you've been telling yourself and have you been upholding them. If you have, awesome. If you haven't, you should start. Today's a great day to start, always. You know, so through that process, y'all, I know I took a little bit of time. I just really wanted to dive into this part because it's a lot more than just the surface level of, hey, what's popping, bro? Been a minute. Like, you got to actually do the real work between the relationships so that you can go and establish it in and outside of this industry. You got to recognize, y'all, the connections and the relationships you make throughout this journey will give you so much access along your process because of what happens with those individuals that you come across to in and outside of the industry. There's a lot of people who go out and kill in whatever lane they're in, whatever industry they're currently specializing, after they've learned and did what they did within network marketing. And you never know where you'll be at. You'll never know what somebody will become. So always treat everybody with respect, man, and be mindful of these questions as you are asking yourself. If other people do that, ask yourself if you can do that for you too. You know what I'm saying? So do they know you? Do you know you? There's a lot of people, look, bro, I know that sounds very like, oh yeah, bro, of course I do. No, but like, do you actually know what you want? Do you actually know where you're going? Do you actually know what things you want to become? Do you know what you don't want to be? Like, do they trust you? Do you trust you? Do they consider you a friend? Would you consider yourself a friend? Or somebody that utilizes people? Or somebody that comes around when it's convenient? Can they depend on you? Can you depend on you? And if you start with, it begins and ends with you, y'all. If you start with yourself and you build it and then you grow it, bro, you'll meet amazing people. I mean, like I know this stuff to be true because I look at this community and I see the type of conversations we have. I see the type of growth we've had. I see where we're headed and the people we've attracted. Bro, of course, all this stuff works. So if you question it, like just think about what you're a part of because you're literally the example. It's amazing. I'm not gonna lie to you. So one, I appreciate everybody hopping in and actually staying in tune with this book because it is something serious. And I really do hope that you not only read it, but you apply it throughout your day to day so that you can grow long term. So I'm gonna shut up now, but shout out Rolodex Marketing because if you do the inner work, money can grow on trees, it seems. But go ahead. I'm gonna pass this thing to Mikael, unless Rodrigo or Jason or Matt. I know Amani says she's not going, but if you have anything insight you want to put, you're more than welcome to as well, girl. Floor is always open. But anybody, all good.
I think I seen in the chat Matt was gonna go next.
I did not see the chat.
What's up, y'all? My fault.
Man, brush his teeth. Got them pearly whites, boy.
Jam is too,
Hey, Sham.
but I've been in tune. All right, hold on. Let me step out of quick. Boop-a-doop. No, I'm gonna just do it in here. What's up, y'all? Hope everybody's having a blessed Saturday. Honestly, like my camera hasn't been on just because I was eating breakfast and then getting ready for this whole family reunion thing over at the beach where basically like today's where everybody's showing up for Mari's side. So been in tune with that pretty much all week. But you know, a little insight that I heard. Honestly, I have not read it. I'm going to actually listen to it on the way back home. So that's what's going to be on the car ride tomorrow. Because honestly, the information, I guess that like I've just been hearing everybody talk about has honestly been crazy or like amazing. And I guess one thing I really wanted to touch on because I know it came basically was talking about like being your own self and like just you being you. And I think that's honestly what makes like I guess your journey and your story like one of one. You know what I mean? Because not everybody has the same background. Not everybody has the same struggles that they go through. Not everybody has the same mindset or same family or anything like that. You know, and when you're able to be like 100% authentically yourself, it just makes it like that's you. You know what I mean? Like obviously, I put in there as like comparisons to the thief of all joy. There's been hella times where I thought to myself, like everybody knows Marcus as that's that guy. You know what I mean? That's that dude dealing with this stuff and been doing this for like going on almost a decade now, which is wild. But me personally, like I've been doing this thing now for going on 3 years, and I know I still got a lot to learn. I know I still got a lot more like qualities and shit. Like, oh, sorry for the language, but like leadership qualities that I could actually gain and stuff like that. And you know, for me, I just take it day in and day out. I don't really compare myself to nobody. I'm me, and that's just who I am. Nobody, somebody don't like it, then I'm sorry. That's just me, you know. And I think it's very important to be unapologetically yourself as well. And not really, I wouldn't say like care what people think because I like everybody has their own opinion, but obviously like being a leader and dealing with leadership and stuff like that, you have to have it's like a tight rope, I guess, for me personally, because like you want to be I don't know how to explain it. Like there's some times where, like I said, you be unapologetic yourself, but then as a leader, you have to actually help people along the way, and you have to actually meet people where they're at. And it's just for some people like me, it's a little, uh, it doesn't come as easy, if that makes sense. And obviously, like that's where the growth comes. And like I said, I got some stuff I need to work on leadership wise, and just being the best like leader I can possibly be, like for not only for my squad, but like for my family as well and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And what Marcus was talking about basically like you have to actually show, not just tell people, but show people who you are and what type of leader you are. Because yes, you could say one thing and again, you can, I guess, paint the picture perfectly with words. If you're not doing what they're saying, or if you're not um, actually putting like the action into it, it's like what we say, knowledge is empower application of knowledge, and that same thing with being a leader. Like you can't just talk about it. You can go to seminar all you want. You can go to different events all you want. You can go to different personal development conferences all you want, but it's not gonna do nothing if you actually don't put it into practice and not actually put it into work.
And there went Matt. Obviously y'all can tell, if anybody's ever been on the beach, as we talking about beach money, there's like no service on the beach. And he's staying pretty close to the beach. So we're gonna give him a second to pop back in here. Who else hasn't gone? I know I got up for a quick second when my mom called, and then I had to walk to the kids out. And then I came back and Marcus was speaking. Marcus, you spoke before you.
I believe it was Cam.
Okay, bet. I ain't missed that much then. Say less. What up, though, Jules? I see you in the cut. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Okay.
We had a great talk this week about some things that are going to pertain to this conversation. As I was reading, I was excited. I was like, let's go. Well, does Jason or Rigo or Alyssa want to take it?
They said they were all preoccupied with other stuff.
They said they were all
They
pretty.
were still listening in.
Okay, bet. Well,
Yeah, I was like, I could take it, but I can't run far with it.
well, run as far as you can, girl. What's popping?
I mean, I haven't read these couple chapters, so I'm not quite there yet. I've been trying to like figure out the audiobook. I've been trying new ways to read, so I'm just a traditional like paperback book reader. I have to like physically have the book. But yeah, I just from like what people were talking off, I'm gonna piggyback off of what oh my god, I almost called him Marcus. um, no, off of what he just said about like being unapologetically yourself. I didn't really see where I didn't really like hear it was kind of going in and out on like where he was taking it. But I agree, like I agree about being unapologetically yourself and also having to meet people where you're at. It's like a fine or meet people where they're at is a fine balance. And I feel like as a leader, as a network marketing leader, like your charisma, your persona, the way, like the way you come off to people, that first interaction you have with people, like it's essential, it's I feel like it's detrimental to your relationship and that foundation that you're building with someone. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's what like a communication professor of mine used to always say, like to make oh there he is, to make like a lasting impression on someone. They would call it like elevator pitches, They would literally like I remember one of our assignment was an elevator pitch. She literally said, "Go out today And I want you guys to find yourselves in elevators or wherever it is, small, close quarters, and make a lasting, like, lasting impression, or makes the, have a very like intentional conversation with someone today. But I mean, we had to do it with at least like 5 people. But it was just very much like, like how much of you can you express in a 30-second elevator ride? Like what conversation can you have that's going to change your life in a 30-second elevator ride? Like, what do you say? What do you do? How do you act? How do you approach them? What do you use to break the ice? What do it's all different. It all says everything about a person, about them as a leader, about them as a communicator. Um, so I think that is important to, be unapologetically yourself, but also practicing discernment as far as other people, because they're not everyone is, going to have the same heart as you, going to have the same mindset as you. Not everyone's going to be where you're at. Sometimes it's you that has to rise to meet people, and sometimes it's other people that have to rise to meet you where you're at, So it's just like a fine balance, I feel like, of trying to figure all of that out, and just being genuine and being sincere. I feel like takes a leader, I feel like, to the next level. It's like that next level of trust. I feel like that's a good foundation to set as a leader. That you're also a human. You're not superior to me. You're not you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel inferior to you. Like, I feel like being unapologetically yourself, having that good, foundation, that lasting foundation, and being genuine with people goes a long way. They remember that about people. Like, the very first time I met Mikhail, I knew he was a genuine person. I knew he was a genuine person, a good person. Same thing, Marcus. First time I met Marcus, I didn't even realize, bro, didn't even realize I knew Marcus, because Amber would always, like, talk about TGF and stuff. I didn't even realize that y'all knew each other until we started talking. And I was like, wait, how do you know Amber? Or you said, like, I don't even know how we brought it up. You said something, and I was like, wait, Amber
Yeah.
knows, or
I
Amber
was
like
talking
does
about,
TGF.
because at that time we had just partnered up with Amber, and I was like, yo, we're helping this amazing entrepreneur really establish and grow her brand, an entire community of like empowering women. And she was like, bro, that sounds like what my friend does. It's like, who's your friend?
Oh yeah, I told you. I was like, we just started talking about it, and I
Yeah.
was like, wait, shut up. Like, this was so random. Me and Marcus met at ACL. We were
ACL,
working
yep.
ACL, and like had no fucking clue that, oh sorry, I had no clue that like they knew each other, So just having that one conversation with Marcus from the jump, he was, genuine, cool. He came across as just authentic, like he wasn't no fake. He was good vibes. He was, from the start. It was just cool. And we always, like but that's what I'm saying. Those are lasting impressions. I remember that. I remember that first time I met Marcus. I remember that first time I met Mikhail. So he was yeah, exactly. He was telling someone what we do. And how does that, come about? You start having conversations. You start asking the intentional questions. You start being very specific about, okay, I have whatever it is, 30 seconds, or I'm going to be working with this person all weekend. Like, it's not just going to be all, kikis and hee-hees and whatever. Like, yeah, it's going to be fun. Obviously, we're good vibes. We're good people. It's going to be a fun time. But, like, being more intentional, I think, with your time, especially as a leader, I think is crucial. So that's just my little take on that, being unapologetically yourself. And I feel like how that aids, someone as a leader, to be honest.
Well, you definitely ran and took that thing home, girl. Touchdown. You know what I'm saying? For real. Appreciate you for the vibes. Because that was definitely a great insight on how you say you've been able to tune in and tune out of this conversation, girl. You snapped. So appreciate you bringing that insight as well. And shout out for the connection, truly. Matt, if you are good with your signal, brother, go ahead.
Sure, hopefully I'm good. Can y'all hear me? All right, cool. Can you close that? Grazie. Um, Shit, honestly, I don't even remember where I was, but I know when I got back on, I was hearing Alyssa talk. That's basically where I am. Like, you got to be on apology yourself, but you have to actually. It's just finding that medium ground. Because, like she said, not everybody has the same, I guess, like heart. Not everybody has the same skin, because some people have tougher skin than others. You can push people a little further and a little harder than you can. Like you can push reds a little harder than you can push yellows. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. And I guess that's just with being a leader. That's what you have to work around, and that's what you have to actually meet people at. Like I said, meet them where they're at, and actually know, one, how they want to be communicated with, two, how what type of feelings they're in, and that's just being in a leader role, you know. And if you've never been in that leadership role before, it's gonna get some getting used to, you know what I mean? It's work that you have to put in. It's like anything else. If you want to get good at something, you have to put the time and effort into it. It's the same thing with being a leader. Like you have to put the time and effort to get to know people. You have to put the time and effort to know exactly how you can help them and which direction they're trying to go to and which goals they're trying to meet and stuff like that. And that's why I give a big shout out to Marcus and Mikhail, because they're literally experts at that. All you have to do is literally go see what they do. Literally, Marcus puts notes on everybody that gets started, ask them what their long-term goals, what their short-term goals are. And literally, he has that there so he can literally see, okay, this was your specific words. This is what you specifically wanted. This is why I'm holding you accountable to that. This is why I push you how I'm pushing you, because we all know, or the leaders, or the person that got you started, or the person that's leading knows exactly why you got started, what you're trying to get out of it, and different stuff like that. And I think it's just, being a leader is a lot of learning to do, because you're just human and you don't know everything. You know what I mean? You go with the flow with sometimes. Like in the first company we were with, there was a lot of different stuff where we had to like create different systems, create different we were literally starting from scratch. Like shout out Infinity, because they literally had everything there for us to just plug in and go crazy. You know, with our previous one, we had to make sure every system was in place. We had to basically get everything situated so you can go kill it. And that's why I love leadership. And for me personally, like I said, there's a lot of work for me to do personally, because I know I can be a better leader. I know I could put in more. And I guess that's just, you just got to be real with yourself too, and you have to know where you're at. You have to know what's bothering you or what struggles you're going through, so you can actually go and tackle, because you have to fill your cup up before you can fill others. You know what I mean? You have to make sure you're good. You have to make sure your P's and Q's and your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. And because if you're in a bad space, then you're going to put some bad energy out in the air when you're talking to people, and people can feel that. You know what I mean? People can truly feel if, like I said, some people have thicker skin than others. But all the insight, I appreciate y'all. It's pretty much all I got. Sham's over here laughing because Margie's put in sunscreen on her. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. I know this week I've been in and out. Connection's been pretty terrible over here, so heading back tomorrow. I'm actually meeting up with my uncle Jesse to get his demo account and stuff set up. So if anybody wants to link up tomorrow, y'all hit my line. I'll be free. I'll be in the field, and I'm excited, man. I appreciate y'all, and I think I'll pass it to my guy Mikhail. You got it, bro.
Boom. Well, Matt, bars. I can't wait for you to actually listen to this thing on the way to the crib too. It's gonna be fire. No lie, because I already know you're gonna have a lot of moments in the book that are gonna be relatable as well. So, this is fire, man. Truly, we've definitely all been able to lock in on this book, and just hearing everybody's outtakes is honestly amazing. Truly, it's amazing what this book does, because as y'all can tell, this industry is so much bigger than just making money in this industry, but you can relate it back and forth onto so many different things, even to just establishing genuine connection. So it's dope, man. I'm gonna actually start at the end the last quote of this reading was fire for me, because it's a direct reflection of exactly what we do. One, it says, hold on, boo, 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 doo, boo. Your paycheck is a manifestation of the number of people that you help to see that times are tough, but it does not have to stay that way for long. Confidence is key. That was literally the last part of chapter 15. It's literally the last few words. And it was huge for me because ultimately, y'all, that is exactly what we do. Like, yes, we teach people how to trade. Yes, we plug people into the book club. We plug people into Bible study. We plug people into the value session. Why do we have all of these systems, the retention systems, the momentum systems? Like, the reason being is because we literally are on a mission to get people to understand that even though it may be rough right now, it does not have to stay rough forever. And the process of getting a person to go from unsuccessful to successful is getting them to believe it. It's literally all that makes a difference. And once you believe that you literally deserve that abundance that is actually coming later on in your future, and you stop accepting the bullshit that you've been accepting, that's when everything starts to change. That's when mindsets change. That's when results start to happen. And it's little by little. And then actually kind of brings me back to this other part. This is actually fire how this book can just, like, y'all know how like the Bible has all of these, like, you can go to this chapter and it can relate back to this story and it can relate back to, like, this book is low key, it's like, it's nowhere near the Bible, but it's similar. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely different. But back on page 85, it's when it was talking about momentum, an example of what momentum looks like in a networking business. Here's how things change. Month 1, you bring in 1 to 5 people. Month 2, you bring in 1 to 5 people. No one does anything. You spent $1,000 and you've earned $300. That's wild. Shout out TGF, because you ain't spending no $1,000 in your first 60 days. But month 3, you bring in 1 to 5 people. One person brings in 1 and then doesn't do anything more. You earn about $100. Whew. Month 4, you bring in 1 to 5 people. Your group adds 3 distributors for the month and you get your first promotion. You earn another $200 but have spent another $500. Month 5, you bring in 1 to 5 people. Your group adds 10 distributors and you get your second promotion. You earn about $500 but you spent another $500. Month 6, it's crazy how at this point it literally feels like you haven't done shit yet, even though you've gotten 2, almost 3 promotions. Month 6, you bring in 1 to 5 people, your group adds another 10 distributors, and this is your first profitable month. You earn about $700 and spend about $200. You are tired and overworked and have lost money overall. You want to quit and you question whether it's worth it. Your friends and family ridicule you for working so hard for so little. Woo. Throw some rock emojis in the chat if you can just relate to that part. I know there's a lot of us that can. I know that me, Cam, and Jules had a whole conversation on my driveway this week about exactly that. Exactly that, to a T, and I hadn't even read this chapter yet. It's crazy. I read this stuff this morning. But literally, y'all, like, that part, you will doubt along the entire journey, and there was a whole chapter of that in this reading. You will literally doubt. At $100 a month, you'll doubt if you can ever make it to 1,000. At $1,000 a month, you'll doubt if you can ever make it to 10,000. At 10,000, you'll doubt if you can ever make it to 20,000. At 20,000, you'll doubt if you could ever make it to 50,000. At 50,000, you'll doubt if you can make it to that $1 million a year mark, which is 88,000. And at $1 million a year, you'll doubt if you can keep it long term. That's literally what he talked about in that chapter, bro. And it's real life. And literally the only difference is you just decide that even though it may be rough right now, it doesn't have to stay that way and it can get better and keep going. Literally, as a leader, it is your responsibility to continuously remind your people of that. That is why we do the value session on Wednesdays. That is why we do the book club every single Saturday. That is why we do the mental health call every other Monday. That is why we do the empowerment calls every single month. That is why we do the big shot calls every single month. Those are just the retention systems, because ultimately people have to be reminded. And essentially when he talked about being a person and growing your Rolodex, you know, we talked about like what type of questions to ask yourself. We talked a lot about, you know, like the power of doing it. I don't know if it was just me, but I ain't hear nobody actually cover like the focus on these 5 things that you can actually do instead of just the questions to ask yourself. So I was like, I'm gonna hit that part, you know what I'm saying? But with that, he says to recap, focus on these 5 things so you can maximize the value that you'll get from your contacts. 1, add people to your network every day and put them in your contact manager. That last part I suck at. I literally am horrible at saving people's numbers. But here's the reason why though. And a lot of people, they like, Bruce, you know, people get all mad. Sometimes people just laugh at me, whatever. Here's the reason why I do it. So that I can associate who the hell that you are and I can actually care. If you call me a few times, all of a sudden I see your name in my phone a few times, I text you a few times, we're going back and forth, I'm gonna establish a connection, this is how my brain works, with your number and yourself. And with that, now I know them last 4 digits of that number. Now I know like I take those mental notes, I don't write it down, but of the time in the conversation, because it clicks back in with the number, because I saw the number every time I spoke to the person. So now every single time that person calls my phone and I see that number, I remember the entire conversation that pops up fresh. It's different. My brain works a little bit different. You got to find your method of madness, you know what I'm saying? But literally that is why. Like Marcus would be like, bro, how you be remembering niggas' numbers? And I'd be like, yo, I do this on purpose. I've done this since I was a child. Shout out to my grandma who was also in network marketing. But 1, that first part is something that Peach told me every single time that I spoke to him. If you guys go on SoundCloud or YouTube and go look up the audio, What All In Looks Like by Dr. David Peach, that is one of my first mentors in the network marketing industry. The man is worth well over $60-70 million now today. He was worth well over $50 million when I met him 11 years ago. He said, yo, always meet at bare minimum 1 new person a day, be adding to your network. I don't care if it's at the gym, I don't care wherever it is, period. And I think I did a training, it might even be recorded on a value session, but like the 5 steps to making a friend, I did it way back in the day. When I just talked about having an icebreaker, I talked about being able to connect with the person and how I do that. So truly, y'all got access to figure out how. 2, get to know the people in your network. Like take some time. Me and Sam was on a call till like 2-3 a.m. the other night, bro, just literally shooting the shit, chopping it up, me showing him stories about my life, him telling me stories about his life. We were just going back and forth and actually getting to know each other. I know for a fact that I've had a lot of those conversations with a lot of different members of squad, random moments where we just literally call and just chop it up. Don't be afraid to quote unquote waste time, because that wasted time actually ends up being an investment later on down the line, and you just don't know when you get to recoup on that investment. So get to know the people in your network, as Marcus was talking about. Make sure the people in your network know you and what you do. Big shout out that man, because not only do we know Marcus as an example, but we just heard a real live example, even when he popped off of the call, that Alyssa was talking about how when she first met him, he literally told her about the business and what we were doing, who we were helping. And that had helped establish a different connection. Therefore, I'm willing to bet that it established an even deeper connection with Alyssa and Powerful Creator. Therefore, Amber's business was able to grow. And also now Alyssa's on this on this book club and tunes into a lot of things that TGF does as well. Bonafide member, OG, triple OG. Literally, you got to get out here and talk about it. People got to know you. My mom said it best. It's not who you know, it's who knows you for what. I got a call the other day from a guy that I went to junior high with, y'all. I haven't seen this man in damn near 10 years since I was in Tampa Beach, Florida, and we went to a drive-in movie together. We've barely kept in contact, and ultimately, I be slacking on texting back a lot of times or calling people when I say I'm gonna call them. I need to get better at being impeccable with my word in that area. But with that though, people know me for being the business guy. People know me for being the marketing guy. People know me for being the connections guy, because I've made it very known over my last 11 years in my career, to the point where he called me because he just sent me his cryptocurrency that he just launched. How many of your friends are just sending you a cryptocurrency that they just launched? Because I promise you there's people in your network that have done it. It's 2024. But do they know you? And do they know what you do? How you do it? And if they don't, you've got to get very intentional as you go forward throughout your life, building more relationships and continuously be growing that thing. When she talked about an elevator pitch, yo, that's real life. That's real life. If anybody's ever been on the phone with me or with me in person, you will notice that I damn near stop and talk to everybody. If you are within 3 feet of me, you are getting it, and I'm getting your name. I might figure out what you do. I might figure out your family. I might figure out your birthday. We might have the same birthday month. Like, you might tell me about everything that's going on in your life for them quick seconds. Real life. And I'm gonna have a whole ass conversation. It doesn't matter if we're walking up the stairs. I'm gonna say, hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm gonna ask a whole question. Good? Oh, okay, that's good. Most people just answer and keep going. Hell no, I'll answer and like ask another question, even if I'm walking past you. Like real life, because sometimes people will turn around and actually start to have a whole conversation with you. And it's crazy that you'd find majority of people literally just like to be listened to. Met this old guy at the pool the other day who's one of the most successful architects in my state. Didn't even know. His ass sent me a really weird video the other day of like a song. He's also huge into history. We get to talking at the pool. He's asking me about the grill. I asked him about him. He goes in telling me a whole story about history, and I'm looking like, at first I thought he was talking about the Bible. I'm like, dude, are you a theology? Are you in theology? Or like, what do you do? He's like, honestly, no, man. I'm very interested in history, and majority of the time, nobody ever listens. And they kind of just waved me off. And I was like, well, bro, I got a second. I'm cooking. What's up? I'd love to know a little bit more about history and a little bit more about you. And we ended up connecting. I'm about to show him the business this week. Like, yo, connect. Be interested in people. Here's one of the last ones. Oh, wait, I'm going to get before that. Acknowledge the members of your network with phone calls, cards, and emails. Just breezed over that, basically, when I was talking about me and Sam. But number 5, view your network as an opportunity to give versus an opportunity to get. Look for what people want and give it to them, and literally be genuine with your interests. I gave him an ear and actually listened to him, not with the intent of like, I'm gonna sign this guy up in a week. Literally, my wife was looking at me and I could tell she was looking at me like, why the hell are you listening to this guy talk to us about this fucking story? And I'm like, because he's a person and I know what it feels like to not be listened to. And one of the things that, like in this book, bro, it just, when you are genuine with your interest, you can connect on a whole different level. And when people see that you reach out, even those people who may not hit you back, like, who's on this call right now? People I can trust? Yeah. All right, so last night, had a whole conversation with one of my very good friends. And I'm not gonna name any names because a couple of us knew some mutual people. But had a conversation with a few of my good friends. And while I'm over there, a person who was also a guest over there last night got to chopping it up about how things were going on between her and one of my brothers from another mother, and they're in a relationship. And she literally, like, it took a while of us talking to her, but we're like noticing like, yo, you're over here a lot with the kids. Like, where my nigga at? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? And she just started to hint at little things and tell us little parts. And then she told us that they weren't together anymore. And then she told us why and what's been going on over the last 7 years and what she's not actually been able to tell nobody, not her mother, not her best friend / aunt who I was sitting in her house while she was lit, knocked out on the couch. Not nobody. She just told nobody these things until she got to tell me and Tia. And one of the reasons that she was telling us about what she's been going through, like even though that nigga brother from another mother, he's due for an ass whooping from Mikhail Steele. I don't really go there too often, but he's definitely due for an ass whooping. But with that though, like, for her to come out and say these things, one, I saw the strength and the courage that it took, but also two, she was like, yo, every time that you reach out to him, he notices and then he just doesn't hit you back. And I just be noticing like, bro, you literally have been calling this man like weekly, texting this man for like 2-3 years. Just saying what's up, checking in, and every time you see him, it's all love, and you can pick up exactly where you left off. And like, bro, y'all actually genuinely care. You genuinely love us. Tia, when she reaches out to me, whenever you reach out to me, like, I can feel that y'all genuinely care. And even though at times we shut down and don't even reach out back, you guys still genuinely care. And that right there, like, she was like, I literally don't have that in my life. I don't have anybody that feels like they genuinely care. It's so real, you guys, and you do not know who in your life are struggling through things that damn near could take them out. That you will be sitting there on your couch crying your fucking eyes out if they were to do something to themselves because you just didn't know. And the only reason you didn't know is because they didn't think that you cared enough to tell you. That's one of the main things. It's like you've got to actually be there for people. You've got to take out the time. The other day we were on a call. I felt so bad that I literally got up and was like, hey, y'all, I'm going to be right back. And I walked outside, and then me, Cam, and Jules had to have a very serious conversation and just really dive in. Why? Because I actually give a damn about these people. And they know that, which is why they give a damn about me, in my opinion. Which is why we can have the conversations that we can and break down the things that we can as well. Y'all, it's a whole different level when you are actually genuine with your people and you actually care. One of the reasons why I still maintain being one of the top recruiters whenever I'm around any company or doing any type of business is because I actually care about the people that I call. And I got a lot of numbers, so I can call a lot of people, and they know when they hear my voice that Mikhail's gonna stop whatever he's doing and listen and be right there with them and be present in them in that moment. Period. Do your friends know that about you? And if so, while you're in the relationship business, if they don't know that, get intentional. And it takes personal growth. It takes work. It takes showing up on this call and actually reading the books and hopping on and giving your perception every single Saturday and intentionally caring about other people's perception. Shout out Imani for talking about that a few weeks ago. It literally takes that intention to be able to move. As when you like get into this space, that's how you can take it to another level. Literally, that's the only reason I've made figures in this industry is because I learned that way long ago. Shout out to this man when he was talking about being a kid and his greatest gift. One of my other notes I wanted to go through. He said, your greatest gift. He was the kid in high school that got picked last for every sports team, for everything. I was a kid in school that didn't even want to compete. I didn't even want to join the teams. I was that kid in high school that, yeah, I was cool with everybody, but I wasn't really doing shit with everybody. Cameron, no, like everybody knew me, but like they didn't know anything about my personal life. They didn't know where the fuck I lived unless you lived on my street. Like, no, none of that. None of that. They just see me at school with a smile and some drumsticks. That was it. And when I was out of school and whenever I was kicking it with somebody, I was smiling with some drumsticks. So I grew a brand as the drummer guy. Wasn't even the best drummer in the freaking school. This man Cameron killed me at a whole pep rally. We had a whole drum off at a pep rally. He killed the shit out of my ass. I remember that when we set up in drum sets. Crazy. I was not even the best drummer in the school. I just
You better
walked.
stop, bro. You better stop lying.
Bro, get out of here.
We both did very fair and very equal.
Hey,
Okay.
listen, that right there is a winner speaking. Did y'all hear that? He said we both did very fair and very equal. Nah, man, I appreciate you, bro. Real life, bro. But you're cold, nigga, and do not doubt it. But with that being said, y'all, it's like, it's not a game, man. And you've got to actually like wear your flag proudly for whomever you are, for however you are, for whatever you do. I went from the drumstick guy to the travel guy. All of a sudden I went from, well, I wasn't even the travel guy. At first I was the pyramid scheme guy. I was the scam guy. And then I became the travel guy once I realized, oh, you niggas think it's a game. I'm gone. Quit playing with me. I went through the dirt of the ditch of trying to build this business and all y'all hating on me and thinking it won't work. And miss me with that. I'm on vacation. I'll see y'all and I'm gone every 2 weeks. I don't care if I'm broke on vacation. I'm on vacation because I don't want to see y'all. You know what I'm saying? Literally, I was on that. And with that, I grew a brand and a reputation of being the travel guy. And then once I made enough money to just start kicking it, I started kicking it, pulling up on my friends, taking them out, vibing out, going and grabbing a drink every once in a while. And then I became the kick it guy. And I took the kick it guy to a whole brand and I went and reestablished all those relationships. And that's how we had that big ass run in 2020. You've got to really be about it, but then you've got to genuinely care. I went back and built relationships with people who used to say it was a scam, who used to say it was a pyramid scheme, who didn't believe that it would ever work. I went back and actually cared. Why? Because I cared about them before they said that shit to me. So now that I know it's not true and I know that they were just not even lying, they just didn't know what they didn't know, let me come back in and actually care. But here's the thing, I had to go get success before I did that. A lot of people spend the time trying to intentionally care and get people to come with you on your journey, and you spend so much time with the same people that it doesn't get you to where you want to go. He had to continuously show people, continuously, go find new people if the old people weren't coming, until he could come back and circle back and bring everybody with him to the promised land. So in that, like for me, it literally says sometimes the most difficult experiences in your life can bring you the greatest gifts, and sometimes the gifts don't reveal themselves for years, but be grateful for your trials. It is real freaking life. You got to go through all of that. Like, here comes my wife. You got to go through all of that in order to get to the actual point. What's up, babe? I'm sorry I denied your call. I was literally speaking. But you got to go through it all to get to the point of understanding that this is how it even works. Steve Jobs said it best. You can only connect dots looking backwards, not forward. And what he talked about and what Nito talked about and what Marcus said, I wrote down, I remember which, I think this was straight out of Nito's mouth. He said, to achieve my dreams, I got to focus on creating my future. And I like it's a whole nother level deeper than just like knowing what you want. Like, you actually have to focus on it in the midst of everything going on. And when he talked about you doubting, the first thing that you have to do in order to come back from doubt is literally regain your own self-confidence. That's the first thing that you have to do. And in that, the only way that you can regain your self-confidence is to be focused on the promise, and sometimes not even the process. Because sometimes the process starts to erode the faith that you need in order to get to the promise when you're focused on it. Sometimes the process looks like everything is going wrong, but sometimes you just got to zoom out and understand that you're still on the uptrend. You can look back and understand, like, okay, when I was feeling like this prior to, God brought me through. So let me just stop expecting the worst. Let me just stop looking at the worst. Let me just expect the best and take a step and understand that if he did it before, he can do it again. And it doesn't have to be how rough it is right now. Literally living proof of that. 4 weeks ago, I was in this hole crying because I couldn't figure out where to live. We couldn't go get approved for anywhere. I wasn't thinking of I'm thinking of man, we paid rent. We got to get those things expunged. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do this and the third. I don't know how the hell we're even going to get approved into a place. And I damn sure don't know how we're going to get the bread to get into this place either. Where the hell is any of this going to come from? I have no idea, but I just got to figure it out. It's literally what I was saying all month long. And I was continuously focused on what I did not have. And I was not focused on what God has done for me in the past and what he's going to do for me in the future. And the minute T and I just prayed last week on the Bible study and just were like, you know what? We got this. I know our lease is up on the 14th, but we got this. I know it's August 1st, but we got this. We're going to figure it out. And then all of a sudden we stopped caring about us. We started caring about other people. We were genuine with our interests. We had some of the greatest conversations of our life that day. And then all of a sudden we just stopped really caring so much about everything that was wrong and just started placing one foot in front of the other in exactly what we could do. And we stayed focused on things outside of our cracked up windshield. And as we started to get there, we got approved for a place. We got clients that are coming in, making this bread that I had no idea how we were going to get to. And we are almost to our promise of moving in on the 10th. I'm excited, y'all. We just signed the lease the other day. It is a literal process. And honestly, one thing that Marcus, Mama, whole squad, they've literally brought this up multiple times over the year. Man, you are favored, bro. I don't even know how God be working these miracles in your life. I don't even know how this happens. It literally happens because of what he talked about when it comes to perception in this book and what Amber covered very well in the beginning. I'm going to just go back here and read that thing. When he talked about possible interpretations, they got lucky. They are always, they got lucky. No, nobody got lucky. It's not that God has favor on my life. It's that God is favorable. It's that God called us to abundance. And if you actually seek that abundance, and don't worry about the doubt in the process, and you really like real life bring yourself to a place of faith, he will work out miracles for you. And if you start to focus on the miracles that he has worked out instead of the miracles that he hasn't, I promise you, you will live a better life, and it will seem like you get lucky all the time. You see, nothing changed in Jordan's life. It was literally just a guy telling him that he had a star following him. Ultimately, where I was at in my life as I met Marcus, I was honestly on the decline. The money was going lower, the savings account was dwindling, and the opportunities were seeming more and more and more and more and more slim. And then I met a guy who was literally looking at my life like I had everything. And it made me realize that I do. And we started to get back on the on the uptrend. And I just started to switch my focus, period. And in times in my life, like even last week, the only reason on Wednesday that I prayed about it and just really let go and let God was because my boy Louis came over Tuesday. And here's the words that he told me when I was telling him, like, bro, I really don't know how the hell I'm gonna figure this out, bro. Sitting in the garage with him, and he was like, man, shut up. And I was like, what do you mean, shut up, bro? Like, he's like, shut up, bro. You know your ass always pulls something out of a hat. Crazy though. But he was like, dude, literally, your ass always pulls something out of a hat, bro. And most of the time, you don't even be knowing where the hat's at. And I was like, you right about that, bro. So something about to come out of some hat. I don't know where the hat at, but we gonna find that thing. And lo and behold, a week later, here we are about to go and move into a new spot. A freaking 3-bedroom instead of 2-bedroom. Beautiful townhouse that's nicer than where we live right now. At honestly only $50 more expensive than what we pay right now as well. Like a steal of a deal that you can't find anywhere else in Minnesota because we looked just about everywhere else. It was crazy. And we felt like we had lost all our options. And then this lady calls us back who met us for all of 10 minutes. And it's literally like, I love y'all and I really want to work with y'all, so we're gonna make sure everything goes through. She called me and was trying to get me to pay like $4,000 as an extra deposit. And I was like, yo, there's no way, bro. I don't know who you think I am, but I sent you my income and you can clearly see that I do not make over $10,000 a month. And by paying what we gotta pay to move out of where we're at, and there's no way that can happen. So what else can we do? She dropped damn near everything. Like, hey, actually just add on an extra like $1,000. We need a little bit of an extra deposit, but let me just make sure y'all cool. Just get it to me when you can get it to me before the 10th. Like, quit playing with me. I can do that. Say less, girl. I appreciate you for the vibes. I don't even know this lady. All I told her on the phone was like, yo, if you pull that through, you call the landlord and you get that deal, girl, I'll take your child out for some ice cream. Because her son was bad as hell when we went to go view the place. She had her kid with them. I was like, yo, I will take that little nigga out for some ice cream and on a play date. Come on, quit playing with me. And she was like, I really like y'all. I really appreciate you guys. Called us back in 5 minutes and sent us the lease. Wild. And it literally just comes from one, being genuinely interested, but also two, shifting your focus. And that was the last thing I literally wanted to touch on as you guys go through this process of building a network marketing. When it comes to these possible interpretations on how you can see this industry, be mindful of what you view and what you expect for your future. Like, inspect what you expect. Big shout out to Johnny Wimbry. If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? Boot camp 2014. I'll never forget that. Crazy. I will never forget it. I still have pictures in my phone to this day. Now, he said no one makes, so here's an example. Your neighbor and your cousin both get involved in network marketing. Neither of them makes any money and both of them quit. I know that we all know people who have done all of the above, period. So we all come to this play with a certain expectation. My wife literally called me the day that I saw World Ventures as I was looking at it because she had heard about it from her mother and father, who had heard about it from some other people and my pastor in the church. And they literally said, don't do that. It's a scam. It doesn't work. That's my wife, and we've been on well over 100 vacations together. We've made thousands of dollars together. We've seen the entire world together, and the shit worked. It's all about your perception, period. The only thing that made us two different from the other two people I literally just spoke about involving themselves in on this opportunity is we decided to switch our perception. Here's the possible interpretations of that example. No one makes money in network marketing. Network marketing does not work and only the people at the top make the money. They got in too late. That's a big one. They didn't receive good training. They are lazy and don't make any money at anything that they do, or they quit too soon. And then he literally talked about, you can see if you chose interpretation 1, 2, or 3, you would probably be turned off by a career in this industry and never pursue it. But if you looked at reasons 4, 5, and 6, depending on your determination, you would look at it like, I can go find good training if I get started with the right people. I'm not lazy and I have a work ethic, so I know I can make some money here, and I'm not gonna quit until it's time. Period. It ain't over until I say it's over. That right there was literally my perception. I was looking at my pastor like, so you ain't made no money really with this thing, right? I ain't really seen your ass traveling like that. But he introduced me to Joey, who was doing it. And I was like, okay, obviously my pastor ain't been paying attention. Joey, tell me how to do what you do and I'll do that. Period. I told him that the first day. And here I am 11 years later doing exactly that. So here's the other side. Let's look at another example. You made a charismatic person. He's made millions in network marketing over the past 6 years. Now this happens at big events all the time. It's crazy. So be mindful, and after I read this, be aware, and then I'm done. But you go to a network marketing seminar and you hear 10 people speak about the fantastic lifestyles they have created for themselves over the past few years. Here's the possible interpretation, and this happens on Zoom calls too. They all got lucky. They are trying to sell me something. They all got in at the top. I could learn a lot from them. They want to teach ambitious people like me how to be successful. They were once just like me and have grown into great leaders. That's the difference between people who utilize this industry and create success in and outside of the industry regardless. That is the main difference. I've seen it in the thousands of people that I've helped over the last 11 years. I've seen people come to a national event and literally tell me, them people at the top got lucky. I've seen people be like, man, I'm just literally tired of being in here because I feel like everybody's trying to sell me something. I just need to go. It's crazy. Y'all want to hear a wild story? I had this girl named Gabriela Gonzalez join my team. Gabriela was 18 years old. She came to her first event with us not knowing what the company was. She gets to the event. The whole first day of the event, she literally leaves midway during lunch. And she's like, yo, I just feel like I'm being sold to the entire day. And I'm just really tired of it. And I don't really want to be here like that. So I'm going to just leave and go kick it. I said, all right, babe, girl, ain't no thing. Ain't nobody in here trying to sell you anything. I think it's a matter of perception. Your perception is your reality. So if you change the way you think, you can maybe change your life. And that's the reason why you're here, period. By the end of the second day, she was a completely different person. By the end of the third day, when we went up to the Grand Canyon, she was in the system. By the end of 30 days after we got back, she had built a team of about 230 people in Prior Lake, Minnesota. Your perception is everything. She didn't want to do it on Saturday. All of a sudden, 32 days from Saturday, she's a senior rep about to crack director in my organization, pushing, got 120 on her left team and some numbers on her right team, 80, almost 90. We're doing launch parties every single day. Things can change, but it all depends on your perception of reality. Because once she switched her mindset from there trying to sell me something to I can learn a lot from these people, she became a whole different Gabby and made some amazing things happen, and has taken all the leadership lessons she learned in that season and has gone on to be the GM of Timberland in the Mall of America, the regional manager of Timberland in the Mall of America. She just went on to go and start a new career as well. But that girl has literally taken the lessons that she's learned in this industry and gone and applied them throughout her life and seen nothing but increase. So with that, I tell y'all, this industry can be so much more for you than just network marketing and beach money. But ultimately, in order to get to whatever your dream of beach money is, you've got to apply these lessons within the book. And it doesn't matter which book you read, whether it's on network marketing, on real estate, on mental health, they all say damn near the exact same things. You've got to genuinely care about yourself. You've got to genuinely care about other people. You got to know where you're going and stay focused there first on what's happening and where you're going right now. So with that, I think I'm safe to say we can kind of close this thing out. I'm sorry for the long interpretation, but literally this book is just a vibe, man. And I just wanted to give it to y'all exactly how it is. The last thing I want to say, it says, if you have an area of your life that you continue to struggle with, look at how you are interpreting it and how you're feeling about your circumstances. Take a look at what you can do to shift your interpretation to create a more powerful context for yourself and for your life. So with that, my apologies on talking for a little second, y'all. We're gonna get it in. And I appreciate y'all, like real life, you guys, because this book right here is something serious. This group right here is something serious. And what we've been able to go and create, just the environment of learning, is something serious. And I'm truly, truly, truly grateful for it. Like to the point where last night when my friend was telling me them stories, I was telling her about the Mental Health Monday call that she need to hop on. Literally, just like Marcus, I get right to talking about what we got going on. So I hope you guys do as well, because what we do here is way bigger and we are actually helping people see real life hope on the planet. We're hope dealers, dream dealers, period. So get out there, let's go to work, let's hit these streets and let's go expand and multiply. I love y'all and let's get it. Next week.
We outside.
No sorry. Next week, what are we reading, Marcus? I know you have
It's in the event description, but I believe it's from chapter 16 to 20. For sure, I'll put my life on it. I know it's 16 through 18, so y'all can start there, double check. But
just read 4 chapters, y'all.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Well, it's technically 5.
Oh, boom. It's in the app. Yep. Shout out Nita. Hey, that's gonna be we might have to put that one on a t-shirt one day for sure. It's in the app. Hashtag TGF Connect. Yeah, that'll be fire. But listen, God bless y'all. I appreciate y'all kicking it with us strong on this Saturday. I know I talked hella. I'm so sorry, but we had to go in. But I love you guys. Let's get it in. And we in the field. If you guys are tuning into the social media call, that is at 5 p.m. today. We're pushing that thing back. 5 p.m. 6 p.m.
Yeah. That was my. I had already put it out there in the Telegram. It's been up there before the call, and I was like, "Damn, I messed up." But my apologies.
All
6
good,
p.m.
bro. 6 p.m. Well, I'll see y'all soon. Let's get it. Let's disperse and multiply. Bye.
Much love.